Okay, welcome to my first Q&A. Thank you guys for the messages. I did get a few questions. I'm going to answer 2 of them in today's video. The whole point of these videos for me is that I want to be able to share the coaching with people who might be a little bit nervous or a bit intimidated to actually have sessions with other coaches or go any further, and hopefully little things like this will be able to answer some of the questions for them. So yeah, if there's anything that you feel like you're a little bit nervous to sort of ask someone flat out, or if you don't want to have the coaching, if that's quite a daunting thing for you, absolutely fine. Maybe drop me a message with a question you would like me to answer, and I'll try and get it done like this. Hopefully it'll be helpful for a lot of people. So let's give it a go. Okay, question 1. Do people doubt you because you're a young coach? I'm going to split that question in half and answer it like it's 2 separate questions. Do people doubt me? Yes. Because I'm a young coach? I don't know. I think that might have something to do with it. Yeah, I suppose. But I think people just doubt coaches in general. I think lots of people, there's a sort of automatic assumption when it comes to coaches that people are like, oh, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what it's like. You haven't been where I've been. And if there's one thing that I've learned through coaching, is that although the experience might be different or the situation might be different, the feelings are often the same. We only get to feel what is humanly possible. So the feelings that we have towards a certain situation, regardless of what it is, are within those boundaries. So the chances are that the combination of feelings that you're feeling has been felt before. And I think that's really helpful to know, because I might not have gone through your particular situation, but I might have felt the same way that you have, and by dealing with those feelings and by going through what I went through, that can often help. And a lot of coaches are exactly the same. There are some coaches who have been through quite a lot, but I wouldn't necessarily think that I wouldn't say it's the specific situation, because our feelings aren't attached to that situation. They're attached to the way that we perceive, or what we perceive that situation to be, and yeah, that's when I would say that you're not trying to deal with the situation. You're trying to deal with the way that you feel about the situation. Okay, next question. Can you give an example of a time that you felt anxious and what you did to get through it? Yes, I can. Okay, I know one. There was so I went to Australia a few years back with a few of my friends, and when I started training, when I was a coach, I decided that it would be a good idea to like write things down or type them, because I'm a millennial. Type them into my phone and sort of have the conversation as if I'm coaching myself, which I found really interesting. I'm going to find it. Hang on, give me 2 seconds.
2,000 years later.
Okay, found it. Okay, so this was 12th of January 2017. Oh, my dad's birthday. So yeah, I'm in Australia doing sort of a tour of the East Coast. And okay, let's just read it. I'm sitting here outside a Nando's in Townsville, Australia. I'm sitting outside because of a conversation that had just taken place inside with my 3 friends that I have travelled the East Coast of Australia with. Okay, there you go. The conversation was about the Great Barrier Reef. There was nothing wrong with the conversation, but it did make me feel nervous and uncomfortable. We were talking about booking a trip to go and visit in a few days. This is what made me feel uncomfortable. The worst thing is, although I know it was because of my nerves, I still question it. I sat there weighing it up. Is it actually worth it? I'll be nervous all day. Let me explain that previous to this, we took another tour to the reefs of the Whitsunday Islands. Anyone who's been travelling will know how amazing that is. A tour that I spent a lot of time being anxious. We took a speedboat out to the reefs that took about an hour to get there. A speedboat with around 20 to 30 people relatively cramped on board. There were parts of this trip where I was physically gagging due to feeling sick, probably with nerves, but when we put the snorkels on, I spent part of the time being nervous about sharks. So all in all, a pretty nerve-wracking day. Now, as humans, we have the ability to look back and ponder on past events, review it in our minds, and come to a conclusion about the experience. So, how do I look back at the experience while sitting on a bench outside a Nando's in Townsville? To be honest, I don't know. Right now, I can remember the nerves more than anything. that and a multicolored fish called George that was half the size of my body. I remember that fish now. It was huge, I swear. Um, but I suppose the real question is, am I happy I did it? Of course I am. It's an experience unlike any other that I can get in the UK. I saw things that I had never seen before and may never see again, and that's the important thing. As nerve-wracking and as scary as it was, I did it. Although my anxiety changed the experience slightly, and I know that I could have got more out of it with the determination to enjoy it as much as humanly possible, I did it, and if I didn't, well, this paragraph wouldn't exist. And what a paragraph it was. So, as anxious as I am for the Great Barrier Reef, I'll do it. Because I'll see things that I've never seen before and may never see again. It will be an experience. Even if I have a huge panic attack, have to get airlifted to the nearest hospital and sent on the first flight back to the UK to get into bed for a week, to get over a traumatic experience, in brackets, my mind tends to wander to the worst case scenario, at least I can say I tried it, and to be honest, I reckon I'll enjoy it. Now, I'm not even lying about this. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, okay, kind of see it. I'll scroll to the top so you can see the date. There you go, 12th of January 2017. It's, yeah, and do you know what? The funny thing about that is that works in a few ways, I'd say. So, firstly, I did it. I went the next day, and that was a hugely nervous. I was really nervous for it. I was really anxious, and I kind of thought that one day tomorrow will be a memory. I remember, or whatever day it was, but one day it would be nothing but a memory. So, how did I want to remember it? Like, I felt like I had a couple of options. It was either, okay, right, don't go and remember the time that I avoided going because I felt nervous, or go and have a story to tell, regardless of how bad it was. At least I'd have that experience, you know. So, yeah, I think that really helped, and I did do it. But the other thing about that is the day before that, I'd just been on the tour and to the Whitsunday Islands, and you know, a lot of people say, you know, fight or flight. If you're scared of doing something, face it, and once you've done it, you'll never be scared of it again. That's not true in a lot of cases, especially in mine. You know, I can do something that I'm scared of, and then I will still feel scared the next time. But what was happening at this point is that I was desperate to cure my anxiety. So I was like, right, if I do it, then I won't feel anxious again. And then I was hard on myself because I still felt anxious about doing these things. Whereas it's not about not feeling anxious, it's about dealing with it and getting through it. And I think I learned that from this experience. I have so many amazing memories of Australia, which for someone who doesn't like travelling, if someone who doesn't like flying, that's a big deal. I went to the other side. I can't go any further than, well, New Zealand, I suppose, but it's like one of the biggest things that I could have done. And I did it, and I'm so proud of myself for doing it. So to answer your question, well, it wasn't a question, but there's an example. I kind of sat back and reflected on how I'm feeling, and rather than going, right, I'm nervous, I'm not going to do it, and kind of letting myself get all frantic, I took a second to, step back, assess what's going on, and say, right, realistically, how do I want to remember this? Because everything becomes a memory. Right now, you watching this video, hopefully you'll remember it in some good way, but it will be a memory. So every experience that you have in life, think, how do I want to remember this? And yeah, it might not go according to plan. You know, that could have happened. I could have got airlifted and taken back to bed for a week to get over the traumatic experience, but I didn't. Yeah, that didn't happen, and that was something that I was nervous about. And yeah, I get to tell stories about it and use that as an example to hopefully help you guys and help you feel better about certain situations. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and you were able to get something out of that. You know, like I said, feel free to drop me a message with any questions you want me to answer in this sort of format. Something that you think may apply to other people, or something that you think may not, because it's kind of a way for people to engage. You know, if you've been through anything similar to what I've been through, or if you want to answer those questions yourself, drop it down in the comment section below. I think that'd be really helpful, actually. That's a good idea. Answer the questions yourself if you get the chance to. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said at the first question, I may not have gone through exactly the situation you're going through. but hopefully some of the stories and some of the things that I've been through will help you to deal with these situations. We're not, you know, we're in this together. We don't have to do it alone all the time. And hopefully little things like this will just kind of help give you hope that it does get better. 'Cause trust me, it does. It does, and it gets a lot easier. You just take the pressure off yourself and allow yourself to kind of gradually get there bit by bit. If I did another tour of the Great Barrier Reef tomorrow, I would still feel nervous about it, but I would do it because I know how amazing it can be. And actually, from what I remember, the boat was a lot bigger and a lot more spacious, so it was actually a lot easier to do. But yeah, hopefully you got a lot out of this, guys. Keep up the questions.